Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today we're stepping into a world where the very act of storytelling, well, it bends reality.
Right.
Where the lines between what's real and what's written aren't just blurred, they're actively shattered.
Yeah, it's a fascinating premise.
Imagine for a moment if the stories you penned, the characters you brought to life, or maybe even just the whispers and rumors swirling around you could literally manifest, shaping your existence in, frankly, terrifying ways.
Picture trying to escape a nightmare you actually authored yourself.
Exactly. You're desperately trying to get out, only to find the words on the page are becoming your inescapable prison.
That's the hook, isn't it? That chilling, profoundly intriguing idea we're exploring today.
It really is. It's a concept that just immediately grabs you.
Absolutely. The sheer weight of creating something that then turns on you, the creator. Or just having your own fears, your anxieties, given physical form.
It's this kind of recursive horror.
Yeah.
It makes the stakes feel incredibly personal.
Not just for the character, Alan Wake himself, but really for anyone who's ever, wrestled with a creative project, or even just their own internal narratives.
Absolutely. And that takes us straight into our deep dive today, the Alan Wake saga.
And its sprawling, meticulously crafted connections within what Remedy calls the Remedy Connected Universe.
Yeah, Remedy Entertainment has truly mastered this unique blend. It's psychological horror, deep narrative, constant tension.
It keeps you questioning everything, really pushing the boundaries of what interactive storytelling can even do.
So our journey today is really to unpack how Remedy has woven this incredibly complex tapestry.
We'll dig into the, surprisingly tumultuous creative struggles behind these games sometimes.
Yeah, uncover those fascinating aha moments, those connections that make the lore just so compelling across different titles.
And hopefully have a truly meaningful conversation about, the very nature of authorship, reality itself.
And how Remedy deliberately works to create curiosity, build that tension, and constantly raise the stakes.
Drawing us deeper and deeper into this unique universe.
And to guide us through this dark, twisting narrative, we've gathered a pretty impressive stack of sources.
We have, yeah. Detailed Wikipedia entries covering Alan Wake 2, American Nightmare, and Control.
We've also looked at insightful game reviews, both praise and critique, which is important.
Definitely. Plus, an academic paper looking at the psychology of horror in games, which is quite relevant here.
And something I'm really excited about, a truly captivating interview with Matthew Peretta.
Ah, the voice and now live-action performer of Alan Wake himself. That's fantastic insight.
It really is. So let's switch on our most powerful flashlight beams and journey into this waking nightmare.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's start right at the beginning. Genesis of a nightmare.
Alan Wake's troubled birth, you could say, and its really bold, ambitious vision.
Because Remedy's path to creating the first Alan Wake, it wasn't straightforward at all, was it?
Not in the slightest. It was a real creative crucible. Involved a huge shift from this grand open-world ambition
to the much more linear thriller that we eventually got to play.
And what's immediately striking is just the sheer scale of that initial vision.
Right, after the very tight linear corridors of their Max Payne games.
Totally different. They initially conceived Alan Wake as a full-blown open-world survival game.
Imagine that. A vast sandbox-style city, maybe something like Grand Theft Auto in scope.
Yeah, but set within that dark, atmospheric, deeply moody Pacific Northwest town of Bright Falls.
And the gameplay idea they had back then was, honestly, incredibly innovative for its time.
It really was. Players wouldn't just be, running and gunning.
No, you'd spend dynamic daylight hours gathering crucial resources.
Things like gasoline for portable generators, batteries for flashlights, ammo, of course.
The whole idea was meticulous preparation. Fortifying positions, powering up light sources.
Because when night inevitably fell, you'd have to defend yourself against these increasingly aggressive supernatural threats.
That was a huge gamble for Remedy, though. Almost the antithesis, as they put it, to their established work.
It really makes you wonder what drove them to take such a drastic creative leap. Why abandon their proven formula?
That's the big question.
Well, creative director Sam Lake talked about this quite openly. He said they explicitly wanted Alan Wake to be the antithesis of Max Payne.
Okay.
Max was, hard-boiled detective, man of action, perfect for those intense linear shootouts Remedy was known for.
Right.
Alan, though, he's a writer, an intellectual, An atypical hero suddenly thrust into these extraordinary, terrifying circumstances.
So, a different kind of protagonist demanded a different kind of game.
Seems like it. They even played with wilder ideas early on, like supernatural events tied to a volcano under Cauldron Lake.
A volcano? Seriously?
Yeah, supposedly no longer dormant, forcing mass evacuations, leaving Alan isolated to face the dark forces alone. The ambition was clearly huge, redefining their own creative boundaries, exploring something more psychological, more character-driven.
But ambition, as we often see, can lead to immense struggle.
Oh, definitely. The development of Alan Wake was grueling, spanned over 5 years.
Wow. 5 years.
And for a big chunk of that 3 years, the team was just grappling with this massive challenge, trying to merge the sprawling open-world survival gameplay with a tightly woven, compelling action thriller story.
That sounds difficult. Like trying to mix oil and water.
Pretty much. Sam Lake even famously compared Microsoft's involvement as publisher back then to a too many cooks situation.
Suggesting some tension between the creative vision and maybe external pressures.
Seems likely. That kind of behind-the-scenes conflict always adds another layer to understanding the final game.
The pressure must have been immense.
It reached a breaking point, apparently. They were missing publisher milestones, constantly experimenting with different open-world mechanics, different story formats, just not finding that cohesive vision.
So what happened? How did they fix it?
Well, to resolve it, about 3 years into development, a small core group of department leads were, quite literally, locked into what they jokingly called a sauna for 2 months.
Locked in a room for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, this intense, isolated period was designed to completely refocus the game's core elements, find a definitive path forward without having to scrap all the work they'd already done.
And what came out of that sauna?
A real breakthrough, a pivotal moment. They made the difficult but ultimately, I think, brilliant decision to rework the game into a more traditional, linear, episodic format.
Okay. Ditching the open world.
But here's the clever part, the ingenious bit. They didn't just throw away all those previously created open-world assets.
Right, they reused them.
Smartly reused them, repurposed them to give the final game this unique sense of realness, this believable lived-in coherence, even within its new linear structure.
That feels like a really powerful parallel, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, this real-world creative struggle by Remedy, this fight to find their story, it seems to deeply mirror Alan Wake's own creative blocks within the game's narrative.
That's a great point. His past work, that fictional detective Alex Casey, clearly echoed Remedy's Max Payne.
And his current tormented struggle with the Departure manuscript feels eerily like the difficult, long creation of Alan Wake itself.
Yeah, it's very meta.
It really makes me wonder, how often do these real human creative challenges, the struggles behind making a game, so directly influence the art, the narrative we finally get?
That's a profound insight, and it's almost like Remedy being self-aware about it. It's not just a clever meta-narrative trick. It feels like the game itself is processing its own difficult birth. Think about how many artists, when they're facing huge pressure, self-doubt, creative blocks, they feel like their work takes on a life of its own, almost actively resisting them.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Remedy took that very real universal struggle and used it to define Alan's internal torment, blurring the lines between creator and creation in a way that resonates if you've ever battled a blank page or anything creative.
It gives Alan's journey this incredible authenticity. Makes his creative torment feel really personal, relatable. And once they found that narrative spine, they really shone a light, pun intended, on a unique gameplay system.
Nice one.
It wasn't just about combat. It felt like a powerful, almost philosophical metaphor for understanding and confronting fear.
The combat system in Alan Wake is absolutely foundational. It's core to the whole experience.
How does it work again for those who might not remember?
Well, the Taken, these shadowy enemies, they're initially enveloped and protected by the shield of darkness.
Okay.
Which makes them impervious to normal attacks. Your bullets literally just bounce off.
So you can't just shoot them?
Nope. You cannot harm them until you expose them to a focused beam of light that slowly burns away the darkness. Only then, once they're vulnerable, can you finish them off with a firearm.
That immediately adds this layer of tactical thinking, doesn't it?
Huge layer. It's not just about reloading ammo, you're constantly managing your flashlight battery levels.
Right, because you can boost the beam.
You can boost it for a more intense, faster burn, but that drains the battery super quick.
So you're forced into these split-second decisions. Conserve power or risk a quick burst on a dangerous enemy knowing you might be left in the dark.
Exactly. You're always scavenging for fresh batteries or waiting for your light to slowly recharge. Creates this persistent underlying tension.
And what's really brilliant is how the game expands on that light mechanic. It encourages you to interact with the environment, right?
Extensively, you're not solely reliant on your personal flashlight.
What else can you use?
Players get empowered with various light-based weapons. Flare guns that can clear groups, handheld flares that offer this temporary protective circle, flashbangs that instantly obliterate weaker Taken.
So lots of tools.
Even massive fixed searchlights you find scattered around. You can use those to take out entire waves of enemies, give you this moment of exhilarating power amidst all the dread.
And the streetlights. They're not just set dressing.
No, they're crucial safe havens. The Taken cannot enter those lit areas. And Alan's health regenerates faster there too. Gives you precious moments to breathe, regroup, plan.
And the game keeps upping the ante with this system, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Creates real intensity.
Oh yeah. The strength of the darkness shield on enemies varies wildly. You have to adapt your tactics.
And some can even recharge their shields. That sounds terrifying.
It is. After you expose them, they can sometimes recover, preventing you from just chipping away. Forces more aggressive engagement.
Even cars become weapons.
Right. Their headlights can destroy a Taken on the road. It's this innovative combat system that goes way beyond just tactical shooting. It's like a profound metaphor.
How so?
Well, as one source put it beautifully, the first step towards defeating something is shining light on it, revealing its true nature and understanding it.
Wow. That really resonates, doesn't it? And it invites this meaningful conversation about facing our own darkest thoughts and feelings.
Exactly. Just like Alan has to physically illuminate these shadowy figures to beat them, we often need to confront our internal struggles, bring them into the light of consciousness, self-awareness.
To truly understand and maybe overcome them.
It's a brilliant, seamless integration of gameplay mechanics and really profound thematic depth. Elevates the game beyond just being a horror action title.
Okay, let's dive into the narrative heart of Alan Wake. It's such a twisted, self-referential tale.
Yeah, a writer descending into his own fiction where the very lines of reality just blur in the most terrifying, mind-bending ways.
And the very first moments, that core mystery just grips you.
Yeah.
It's this immediate sense of urgency, unease.
Alan wakes up from a violent car crash. He's disoriented, has absolutely no memory of how he got there.
Yeah.
And his wife, Alice, is missing.
Straight into the crisis.
As he stumbles through the dark woods, he starts finding these scattered manuscript pages from a novel called Departure.
Okay.
And the terrifying kicker, he supposedly wrote this book but has zero recollection of doing it.
Oh, wow. Amnesia plus horror manuscript.
And then the chilling realization dawns. The horrific events described in these pages are actually coming true around him.
The story is happening to him.
Right. The shadowy figures he encounters, the Taken, are revealed to be townsfolk, friends, strangers, all possessed by this malevolent, unseen dark force.
That immediately raises the stakes, like exponentially.
Oh.
His own words manifesting as monsters.
And the sense of dread just intensifies when he frantically tries to report Alice missing to Sheriff Sarah Breaker.
Only to be met with this disorienting disbelief.
Breaker tells him the isolated island and cabin he vividly remembers at Cauldron Lake, they haven't existed for decades. Supposedly sunk in a volcanic eruption years ago.
Wait, the volcano again, so that idea stuck around.
In the backstory, yes. But this revelation instantly throws Alan's sanity and yours as the player into profound question. You're constantly doubting what's real, what's a figment of his imagination, or maybe the dark presence's manipulation.
That constant uncertainty is key to the tension.
And the rich cast of characters just further complicates Alan's desperate journey. Each adds this unique texture to the nightmare.
Like Barry Wheeler.
Ah, Barry, Alan's loudmouth but endlessly faithful literary agent and childhood friend. He rushes to Bright Falls to help Alan.
He's completely out of his element, though.
Totally. But his unconditional support provides this small, crucial anchor of normalcy, of loyalty in Alan's spiraling world.
Then you have Dr. Emil Hartman. He
Yeah.
seems helpful at first.
Far from it. A local therapist who actually preys on vulnerable artists. He's trying to exploit the dark presence for his own gain, his own research.
Creepy.
But ultimately, he's just another puppet in the dark presence's grand scheme. A horrifying example of human greed meeting supernatural malevolence.
And the FBI agent? Nightingale.
Agent Robert Nightingale. Yeah, an alcohol-abusing FBI agent who becomes relentlessly fixated on Alan, convinced of his guilt from the start, pursues him with almost supernatural persistence.
Adding more pressure.
And Sheriff Breaker, though initially skeptical, thinking Alan is mentally unwell.
She slowly gets convinced by her own experiences, right?
Exactly. She becomes convinced of the dark presence's existence and transforms into a crucial ally for Alan.
This whole ensemble, with their own agendas, ambiguous roles, it serves to isolate Alan even further.
Intensifies the psychological horror. Makes you question who you can actually trust.
What's really fascinating, though, and where the lore gets much deeper, is Alan's discovery of the dark place.
Right. It's not just a physical location. It's the subjective, supernatural realm where thoughts and ideas literally become reality.
The power of creation made manifest.
And from this domain, the dark presence, this ancient, malevolent entity empowered by art, manipulates artists, traps them within its influence to expand its own power.
So it feeds on creativity.
In a way, yes. And this is also where Thomas Zane appears.
The figure in the diving suit.
Yeah, this ethereal figure who guides Ellen. Zane was a poet who, years before, also battled the dark presence. He leaves behind crucial manuscript pages, acting as this kind of ghostly mentor.
And then there's the clicker.
Ah, the clicker. Introduced as this seemingly simple light switch from Alan's childhood.
But it's much more than that.
Revealed by the eccentric hermit Cynthia Weaver to be an incredibly potent object of power.
An object of power, like control.
Exactly. We'll get more into that connection later, but yes, it possesses the narrative ability to destroy the dark presence.
Okay, that's huge, but it creates this paradox, correct?
It creates this mind-bending, headache-inducing time loop, this chicken and egg scenario for fans.
Like, did Zane write the clicker into existence? Or did Alan write Zane, who then imbued the clicker with its power?
Precisely. It's a paradox of creation and causality. A mystery that compels you to question the fundamental rules of this reality, keeps you deeply invested in figuring it all out.
It's not just a clever plot device, it's central to the whole meta-narrative.
The recursive nature of creation, the blurred lines of authorship within the dark place. It forces you, the player, to actively engage with the lore. Ponder philosophical questions about causality, destiny, the power of the written word.
Makes you a detective of reality itself.
Brilliant way to put it.
The climactic sacrifice. That's where all this built-up tension really peaks. Brings the first game to such a haunting end.
Alan, armed with the knowledge and the clicker, uses its power to confront and seemingly defeat Barbara Jagger, the physical manifestation of the dark presence.
And this act creates its opening, allows Alice to escape Cauldron Lake's grip.
But this victory comes at a profound, heart-wrenching cost.
Yeah, Alan understands that to maintain balance, to ensure Alice escapes, he has to make the ultimate sacrifice.
He submits himself to the dark place, willingly traps himself within its swirling depths.
That moment dramatically raises the stakes, transforms Alan from just a hunted writer into this tragic hero.
And as he disappears, Thomas Zane warns him about a doppelganger, Mr. Scratch, who will take his place in the physical world, adds this chilling premonition.
The game ends with Alan's profound, haunting realization. It's not a lake, it's an ocean.
Implying the sheer vastness, the depth, the enduring influence of the dark place.
Some critics initially found that ending maybe a bit weak because it was ambiguous.
True, but many others found it incredibly powerful. A thought-provoking setup that generated huge post-game discussion and this eager anticipation for what might come next.
What's also remarkable about Alan Wake isn't just its original story, but how it weaves together these echoes of masters.
Yeah, drawing heavily, often explicitly, from literary and cinematic inspirations to forge something uniquely its own.
Stephen King, for instance, a primary acknowledged influence.
The game's opening even quotes him directly, and Alan's character often draws parallels to King's atypical protagonists, ordinary people forced into extraordinary, terrifying situations, where the mundane becomes deeply unsettling.
And beyond King, the whole atmosphere of Bright Falls feels so David Lynch-esque.
Absolutely. Directly inspired by the surreal small-town mysteries of Twin Peaks and the unsettling anthology narratives of the Twilight Zone.
Which explains the brilliant show within a show, Night Springs.
A clear, loving homage to the Twilight Zone's format and its eerie morality tales.
There's also Invitation to Love, that soap opera in the game.
Yeah, which alludes to the soap opera within Twin Peaks. Adds layers of surrealism, meta-commentary, enriches the world, deepens that distinctive dreamlike tone.
And the structural choices were deliberate too. That episodic format.
Complete with previously on segments at the start of chapters, cliffhanger endings. Directly inspired by the serialized storytelling and gripping pace of shows like Lost.
Even the light and darkness symbolism, so crucial in Alan Wake, plays a big thematic role in Lost as well.
And a more subtle cinematic nod, Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds.
Ah, the attacking flocks of crows.
Clearly referenced through those aggressive birds that plague Alan throughout the game.
This brings us to that meaningful conversation about art as homage, as metaphor.
The game itself feels like a homage to art. It openly embraces blatant inspiration from several other art mediums to create something truly original.
It's not just imitation, it's reinterpretation, a creative dialogue with its influences.
Remedy positions art, whether it's a novel, a TV show, a game, as this powerful tool to explore human nature, to mirror the deepest parts of our psyche.
It's an interesting paradox, though. How does a game that so explicitly references, even quotes, its influences, manage to feel so utterly unique and original? Establish its own voice, its own world?
I think it's because it synthesizes those elements, uses them as building blocks to tell a fresh story about the power of stories themselves.
Okay, let's talk about expanding the universe now. Moving from the chilling events of Alan Wake's American Nightmare
Into the sprawling, interconnected narrative of the Remedy-connected universe, the RCU.
This is where the meta-narrative truly starts to spiral outwards. Gets even more intricate, more unsettling.
American Nightmare introduces a genuinely chilling antagonist, Mr. Scratch.
And what's particularly unsettling and just incredibly clever about his origin
Is that he's a purely evil doppelganger of Alan, but he wasn't born from a story Alan wrote, or even a physical manifestation of Alan's fears.
No, he was created by the power of Cauldron Lake, born from the false rumors and negative gossip that spread about Alan after his disappearance.
That immediately ratchets up the tension, doesn't it? Highlights the dangerous power of collective belief, of misrepresentation in this universe.
It's not just what you write, but what people say about you that can shape reality. Wild.
Like a negative feedback loop of creation. Mr. Scratch is explicitly described as this sexy, dangerous, playful character, almost a cat with a mouse.
Gleefully taking on Alan's appearance and name.
Representing a purely evil, nihilistic version of him, serving some unknown entity from the deepest parts of the dark place, seeking to plunge Earth into eternal darkness.
That exponentially raises the stakes again. Alan now has to fight this twisted reflection of himself.
Not just to survive, but to protect humanity, especially Alice, from a threat born of his own fractured reputation.
It makes you really question, how does a character literally born from gossip impact a reality where fiction becomes truth? What does that say about the narratives we build around others?
Deep stuff. And the gameplay in American Nightmare also saw some interesting refinements from the original. Showed Remedy's continuous evolution.
How did it change?
The flashlight mechanic became more precise. Only harmed enemies when focused directly, not just ambient light. Health regeneration was more strategic, only under light posts.
Okay.
Alan himself felt faster, more agile, but the Taken were significantly craftier. New tactics like throwing darkness grenades, aggressive charges, forming terrifying flocks of birds.
So tougher enemies.
Definitely. The game also encouraged more exploration by tying weapon unlocks to finding manuscript pages. Added a rewarding layer to the combat loop.
And what's fascinating is that initial debate around its canon status.
Right. For a while, fans speculated, was it just Barry's dream? A side story.
But Sam Lake later confirmed it is canon.
He did, and many theories now suggest it was one of Alan's many, maybe futile, attempts to escape the dark place. Almost a first draft or a trial run for the narrative that would eventually become Return in Alan Wake 2.
That recontextualization is really compelling. It implies Alan was actively learning about the time loops, how to write within the dark place's reality through these experiences.
Moving beyond American Nightmare, we see the true grand design of the RCU start to take shape, explicitly weaving together Alan Wake and Control.
Remedy always wanted to tell more stories after Alan Wake, didn't they?
They did, but publishing agreements with Microsoft steered them towards Quantum Break first.
Right.
But eventually, Sam Lake made that pivotal confirmation: the existence of a broader Remedy-connected universe, a deliberate, shared, overarching narrative across their IPs.
That grand concept linking Alan Wake, Control, Alan Wake 2, it really elevates the ambition.
Beyond a single story, beyond even a trilogy, the idea that one game's lore, characters, events directly impact another creates this rich, interconnected tapestry of mystery.
Raises the stakes for every single plot point, makes you feel like every detail matters.
Every secret revealed in one game could be the key to understanding another.
And Control's intrusion into this universe is particularly significant for building that connective tissue.
Control centers on the Federal Bureau of Control, the FBC, a secret U.S. government agency investigating and containing altered world events, AWEs.
Paranormal phenomena that basically violate the laws of reality.
Exactly. And their headquarters, the oldest house, it's practically a character itself.
This brutalist skyscraper in New York City that's impossibly larger on the inside.
With constantly shifting, labyrinthine architecture. And it's itself designated a place of power.
And central to Control's lore are those fascinating objects of power.
Right. Seemingly mundane items, a rotary phone, a floppy disk, even an old stapler.
That, through exposure to weird dimensions and energies, get imbued with these para-utilitarian abilities.
Powers that defy physics, telekinesis, superspeed, flight.
And what's truly mind-blowing is the confirmation that the clicker from Alan Wake,
that simple light switch from Alan's childhood,
is indeed one such object of power, and a particularly potent one capable of amplifying these bizarre abilities.
That instantly links these two seemingly disparate worlds on a fundamental supernatural level, lays crucial groundwork for future connections.
What facilitates a really meaningful conversation here is how Control, by leaning into that new, weird genre,
masterfully contrasts the mundane bureaucracy of a government agency with the utterly bizarre and paranormal.
That unique blend perfectly sets the stage for the kind of existential horrors Alan Wake faces.
It establishes this credible, albeit deeply unsettling reality where the extraordinary is acknowledged, meticulously investigated, but often not fully understood.
Creates that pervasive, continuing sense of dread rather than just relying on jump scares. Makes the world feel consistently unsettling, much like Bright Falls.
Exactly.
And the AWE DLC for Control, that's where the first official RCU crossover event just explodes onto the scene.
Fundamentally changing our understanding of both narratives, Dr. Hartman,
the manipulative therapist from Alan Wake 1,
makes a terrifying return. We find out that after Alan Wake, he was arrested by the FBC for exploiting Cauldron Lake's power.
Okay.
Later, in desperation or obsession, he dove into the lake himself, got possessed by the dark presence.
Oh no.
And eventually transformed into this monstrous Hiss-Dark presence fusion within the oldest house. The Hiss being Control's main antagonistic force.
And this is where the stakes are drastically raised and curiosity just explodes, right?
Absolutely. Jesse Faden, Control's protagonist, is guided through the oldest house by this spectral apparition of Alan Wake,
urging her to confront Hartman.
And Alan, through these eerie visions, implies something astounding, a revelation that truly twists the meta-narrative knife.
What did he imply?
He suggests he wrote Hartman's escape, and maybe even the Hiss invasion itself.
He wrote the crisis in Control.
He claims he manipulated these events to create a crisis for his hero, Jesse, all as part of his own desperate long-term attempt to escape the dark place.
Wow. An author from one game actively manipulating the reality and characters of another game. That's insane.
It's huge, and the FBC even detects a future AWE in Bright Falls, explicitly setting up the events and location for Alan Wake 2, creating immense anticipation.
Now, you might be wondering about Quantum Break's place in all this.
Ah, yes, the outlier.
It's an interesting, almost bittersweet case study in IP ownership and creative vision.
It's not officially canon to the RCU because Microsoft owns the IP.
Right. But Remedy still packed it with significant Easter eggs.
Oh yeah. The in-universe Night Spring show appears. Copies of Alan's fictional crime novel, The Sudden Stop, are scattered around.
It creates this fascinating glimpse into Remedy's long-standing ambitions.
There's even a live-action segment in Quantum Break featuring characters explicitly named Alex Casey and Saga Anderson.
Names that become crucial in Alan Wake 2.
Searching for Alan Wake. It's a powerful testament to Remedy's unwavering vision for a connected universe.
Yeah.
Shows their persistence, their cleverness in leaving breadcrumbs for fans, even when full integration wasn't possible.
Shows that deep creative wellspring just wouldn't be contained.
Exactly.
And that enduring ambition culminates spectacularly in Alan Wake 2.
13 years later, a profound continuation and evolution of the saga.
It's a game born from over a decade of evolution. A bold, confident shift to survival horror that immediately grabs you.
It's quite the leap, isn't it? Released 13 years after the original, Alan Wake 2 showcases immense technological advancements, lessons learned from Quantum Break, and especially Control.
Remedy consciously aimed to give players more agency, right? A more open approach to exploration story.
A deliberate departure from the more linear experiences of their earlier titles. New rendering tech, their Northlight engine, plus a sophisticated entity component system, allowed for unprecedented depth and complexity.
In world building, character interactions, enemy behavior.
This wasn't just a tech upgrade, it felt like a philosophical shift in game design.
It really exemplifies the evolution of game design itself, beyond just graphics.
Remedy clearly wanted players to feel more inside the world, granting them greater freedom, a more tactile, investigative role.
And the game achieves this beautifully through its innovative dual protagonists and their distinctly different atmospheres.
Creates this multifaceted psychological experience. You have Alan Wake, still trapped, increasingly deranged, navigating a nightmarish, surreal version of New York in the dark place.
And simultaneously, you play as Saga Anderson.
Brilliant, perceptive FBI profiler, investigating a Bright Falls that has noticeably changed, shrouded in this growing, unsettling darkness.
Their sections offer distinctly different environments, characters, atmospheres.
Alan's narrative is this surreal, almost musical theater of the absurd sometimes. Saga's is a grounded, chilling detective story.
These distinct shifts provide much-needed breaks from the game's relentless overall tension.
Lets you process the mounting dread from one perspective before diving into the other.
And this refined horror experience in Alan Wake 2 is deeply rooted in psychology.
It explicitly marks Remedy's first foray into survival horror, a significant shift from the action thriller focus of the original.
Critics universally noted it's more horror-focused, deeply Silent Hill-like.
Some even drawing comparisons to the haunting psychological depths of Silent Hill 4. More emphasis on investigation, puzzle solving, managing limited resources rather than constant shootouts.
That academic paper on horror psychology highlighted key triggers.
Meticulously crafted sound design, strategic use of lighting, putting players in helplessness or disempowerment situations, restricting resources like ammo and batteries, using narrative pacing to build deep emotional investment.
All those principles are strikingly evident, expertly deployed in Alan Wake 2's design.
The game deliberately crafts this continuing sense of dread, aims for an emotional realism where players truly felt inside the world.
That level of interactive immersion is often way more potent than horror movies because of your direct agency, your responsibility for the protagonist.
It makes you constantly question, how does this ingenious dual narrative enhance the psychological horror? Makes you constantly doubt what's real, what's part of the nightmare for both Alan and Saga.
It's a masterful psychological game, forces you to confront not just the monsters, but the nature of reality itself.
And in Alan Wake 2, Alan's ultimate narrative struggle deepens into this incredibly complex, multi-layered plot. Time loops, identity crisis.
While trapped in the dark place, he learns from an apparition of his future self about endless rewrites, creating these agonizing, perpetuating time loops.
And what's truly heartbreaking, and actually perpetuates the cycle, is when he finds that suicide note, supposedly from Alice.
Believes it's real.
And in a moment of desperate confusion, tragically kills his past self, mistaking him for Mr. Scratch.
Devastating. Ensures the loop continues.
That tragic, self-inflicted mistake allows the dark presence which he thought he'd beaten to possess Alan, traps him even further.
He then disappears, caught in this agonizing, self-defeating loop, unknowingly the architect of his own torment.
The psychological toll, being both victim and perpetrator, identity blurred with his evil doppelganger, raises the stakes to this intensely personal, almost unbearable level.
But then, Saga Anderson's crucial role emerges. Not just a detective, but a hero capable of breaking the cycle.
Saga, with Agent Estevez's help, manages to banish the dark presence from Alan's body, a momentary reprieve.
But then, the shocking twist.
The entity immediately transfers to Alex Casey Allen's fictional detective brought to life, steals the clicker, and violently throws Saga herself into the treacherous dark place.
Wow. That constant shifting control, the unexpected turns, keep you on the absolute edge of your seat.
Saga, now facing her own nightmare, has to quickly learn to navigate this surreal, hostile realm.
Through sheer will, her profiler's intuition.
She eventually retrieves the clicker and discovers the bullet of light.
A tangible manifestation of truth and understanding. The one thing that can truly banish the dark presence.
She reunites with Alan to complete the story. And the final confrontation raises the stakes to their absolute peak.
Alan, in this calculated, desperate move, provokes the dark presence to possess him again.
Creates a moment of vulnerability, allows Saga to shoot him with the bullet of light, seemingly destroying both Alan and the entity.
But at this point, the story still seems tragically trapped in that endless loop.
But then, the narrative spiral takes another dramatic turn. Alice's revelation and the profound implications of the final draft.
In a chilling yet hopeful final video diary, Alice reveals she actually faked her death within the dark place.
Explaining to Alan that he must break the cycle through destruction or ascension.
That crucial insight shifts everything. Alan revives, not defeated, but with this new, enlightened understanding, declaring it's not a loop, it's a spiral.
That is a massive aha moment for the player. Redefines the very nature of his struggle, the universe itself.
And the final draft, the new Game Plus mode, truly brings the spiral to its ultimate, definitive end.
Through repeated playthroughs, Alan finally finishes his novel, Return. A true act of authorship that severs the dark presence from its source.
Now revealed to have been born from Alan's own inner darkness, tragically tied to Alice's suffering.
With that separation, the bullet of light can permanently destroy the dark presence, freeing Alan forever.
He revives, truly free from the loop.
And with this profound sense of self-mastery, proclaims himself the master of not just two worlds, but many.
What does that even mean? Master of many worlds.
It suggests this profound new level of influence, right? Not just over the physical world and the dark place, but potentially over the entire Remedy-connected universe, becoming this almost cosmic author figure.
That entire narrative arc.
Yeah.
It's a masterful meta-commentary on authorship, destiny, the power of rewriting your own story.
Absolutely stunning.
And this incredibly rich, dense narrative in Alan Wake 2 is complemented by what I call the art of the unforgettable.
The phenomenal music, the stunning performances, its lasting legacy.
One of Alan Wake 2's most critically acclaimed, truly memorable gaming moments is that Herald of Darkness musical sequence.
Oh yeah, where characters like Mr. Door sing a summary of Alan's story in this almost David Bowie-esque, Grimm-like sequence.
It's utterly jaw-dropping, completely unexpected in a horror game. And here's a surprising fact that adds to its legend.
What's that?
Creator-director Sam Lake actually had to fight tooth and nail to keep that section in the game.
No way, really?
Yeah. Developers apparently questioned its strangeness, its incongruity in a psychological horror game, the technical difficulties in executing it.
Astonishing to consider that this extraordinary sequence, which many now see as the defining moment of Alan Wake 2's unique experience, was nearly cut.
Speaks volumes about the creative risks Remedy took, the power of a singular vision.
Matthew Peretta, Alan's voice and live-action performer, along with David Harewood as Mr. Door, actually performed the songs live.
Peretta described recording with Poets of the Fall as incredibly nervous but ultimately fun, highlighted the unexpected genre shifts, like a sudden foray into jazz, added to its surreal brilliance.
Matthew Peretta's journey as the voice of Alan Wake is another deeply fascinating layer here.
He initially auditioned using what he called a promo voice.
Yeah, like a booming Fox Thursday night line-up announcer. He wasn't sure he could sustain it for the grueling 4-hour recording sessions.
But it became natural, defining Alan's distinct tone.
He notes a significant evolution in Alan's portrayal, too. From Alan Wake 1's mellifluous tones, lots of manuscript reading, narration,
to a more human, more real Alan in Alan Wake 2. Especially with the increased live-action segments where Peretta physically embodied the character.
Peretta speaks with immense admiration for Sam Lake, describes him as amazing, kind, quirky, genuinely forward-leaning.
Says Lake writes these characters with the actors in mind, like Dr. Darling in Control, written for Matthew Frew.
And Peretta said Sam's vision is so strong, so compelling, that if he suggests something outlandish like a musical number in a horror game, it's gonna happen.
He also openly connects to Alan's creative struggles, finds it easier to inhabit the character knowing him inside and out, empathizing with that battle against the blank page.
And he speaks so fondly of the late James McCaffrey,
the legendary voice of Max Payne and Alex Casey in Alan Wake 2.
Calls him an amazing person and an incredible loss. Highlights McCaffrey's honest, endearing, hilarious nature. Shows that deep camaraderie within the Remedy family.
And that emotional connection just radiates through Peretta's performance, his reflections.
He expresses profound gratitude for the countless fans who've shared how the game, how Alan's character have affected their lives. Calls it an honor, deeply humbling.
This behind-the-scenes look, the actor's personal connection, adds such a profound human element to the digital experience, reminds us of the real people, the emotions behind these virtual worlds.
And this brings us to the soundtrack's immense emotional resonance, a crucial element in Alan Wake 2's impact.
A significant departure from Alan Wake 1's reliance on licensed music, right?
Big departure. Alan Wake 2's soundtrack features predominantly custom-crafted songs. Bands like Poets of the Fall,
Performing as their in-universe alter egos, old gods of Asgard.
created the unforgettable Herald of Darkness. Poe contributed The Winding Road, all specifically written, composed for the game's unique narrative.
It sparks that meaningful conversation about the sheer power of music and storytelling, especially in this medium.
Music plays an absolutely crucial role in mood capturing, punctuating the closing of chapters, a deliberate nod to Twin Peaks and its iconic atmospheric soundtrack.
The sheer ambition of having so many unique, bespoke songs, specifically for the game, instead of just relying on existing tracks, it's astounding.
Contributes immensely to Alan Wake 2's unforgettable atmosphere, its deeply personal, emotional impact, a bold artistic choice that just pays off in spades.
So, as we bring this deep dive to a close, let's just recap the incredible, mind-bending journey we've taken through the Remedy-connected universe.
We navigated the troubled origins of Alan Wake, from that ambitious open-world vision to its innovative blend of light-as-weapon horror.
We delved deep into the meta-narrative, a writer trapped in his own fiction, reality blurring with the written word.
Explored its expansion into the ambitious RCU, meticulously linking Alan Wake Control, Alan Wake 2 through this shared, evolving mythology.
We saw how Alan Wake 2 elevates this foundation into a psychological survival horror masterclass.
Yeah.
Constantly building tension, raising the stakes.
Pushing the boundaries of what truly interactive, deeply personal storytelling can be.
What's truly thought-provoking here, I think, is that central, pervasive theme permeating every layer.
The profound power of creation itself.
If the act of writing, of crafting a story, can literally shape reality within a game, as Alan discovered firsthand, to his torment and eventual triumph.
Then what stories are you writing? Consciously or unconsciously? That might be influencing your own world.
Yeah. Is your life a repetitive loop? A narrative you keep reliving without change?
Or can you, like Alan, come to that profound realization? It's a spiral, constantly evolving, ready for a new draft, a new direction, a new ending that you yourself choose to write.
It's a powerful idea to consider in our own lives, not just in the games we play.
An excellent, deeply provocative thought to leave you with.
We highly encourage you to experience the Alan Wake saga and the Remedy-connected universe for yourself.
Whether you start with Alan Wake Remastered, then dive into Control to follow the RCU best.
Or jump straight into the critically acclaimed Alan Wake 2. Prepare for a narrative experience that will challenge your perceptions, linger in your thoughts.
Stay with you long after you put down the controller. These games are truly a testament to masterful storytelling, innovative design, and a unique creative vision that just keeps expanding and captivating.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating, terrifying, and profoundly human world of Alan Wake.
We hope you found a shortcut to being well-informed, packed with surprising facts.
And just enough humor to keep you hooked. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning.
And always, always keep an eye on the shifting shadows.